All right. Um, Tonight we are kind of continuing our personal finance journey slash trading journey. We're kind of blend the two a little bit tonight. Um, the theme of tonight is basically from zero to hero, or from broke to professional profitable trader. And while the theme of tonight is, from zero to hero or being broke, a lot of the same a lot of stuff I'm going to cover can be um, felt in other ways too, right? Like if you're going through a divorce, there's a lot of stressor and pressure on you. If you are going through a major life change of some sort, if you're sick, like really sick, I'm talking like, some kind of actual, not like a cold, like some kind of like illness. Stress and hardship can show itself in many, many ways. So let's start on the ground floor though. Let's talk about, just for a second, being broke. If you've been there or are there, you know what it's like. And I know what it's like. 12, 13 years ago, I lost everything. I mean, I went from a house and a car and happy life to literally living in public housing. And I didn't get out of that till like 7, 8 years ago, something like that. And at the time, I didn't have any money. Like I didn't have two nickels to rub together. It was opening the fridge and nothing is there, and realizing that payday is still days away. It was choosing which bill to pay or not pay. It was, what bill am I not going to pay this month so I can cover rent? It's waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning in a fucking cold sweat because the stress of money, or lack of it in my case, was just gnawing at my brain like a rat. It's financial survival mode. There's no sugarcoating it. It fucking sucks. It's terrible. And most people won't admit it, but a large number of us, of Americans, are in the exact same spot. For example, you've probably heard that the majority of Americans can't cover $1,000 emergency expense. We're literally a paycheck to paycheck nation. That's the system that we're in. And it's not much different in other countries. Some are a little bit better, some are a little bit worse. A lot are a lot worse. If you're living on the edge, you're not the only one. The system sucks, man. It's rough. The wages, lag cost, inflation, and there's plenty of like responsible, hardworking people that are just one paycheck away from just disaster, man. It's tough. It is. If you're broke or just scraping by, let's just acknowledge the reality. And this is from just personal experience. Like I was just one disaster away, or one expense away from disaster. The margin for error in my life was basically zero. Like a single unexpected expense, whether it's, the car dying, tire going out, kid gets sick, the some unexpected bill, whatever. It sent me into a tailspin. And the constant pressure of living in that, it fucked me up. I mean, it did a number on my head, and there's numerous studies on this, of what financial pressure does to the brain. There's a lot of like real famous studies on it. One in particular is from the Booth School of Business, which is at the Chicago University. Like financial problems creates cognitive strain that's equivalent to losing a full night's sleep. Imagine every day functioning like you pulled an all-nighter. That's what chronic money stress does, and other stress too. And it's literally proven in a lot more studies than just from the Booth School. Having fewer resources literally fatigues your brain. It narrows your focus to what? What is your focus? What did my focus narrow to when I was broke? My immediate problems. I didn't care what happened a month from now, 6 months from now, a year from now. I was just trying to get out of whatever the immediate problem was. I was just trying to cover this month's bills. I was in survival mode 24/7 hours a day, mentally juggling, which bill to pay or which meal am I skipping? And I've been there. I remember the mental exhaustion, not being able to sleep. I remember wondering where the next meal is coming from, how I'm coming up with whatever. My world shrank to today's worry. There's no bandwidth to plan for the future when you're just trying to make it to next week. And then you hear, maybe you hear about trading or some other opportunity, stock, crypto, forex. Someone on YouTube or Reddit makes it up sound like you're going to turn 100 into 10,000, and then the month from now you're going to be driving a Lambo and escape the 9 to 5. It's tempting. Who wouldn't want an escape from that grind? And we are going to talk trading. Before we do, I just want to kind of paint the picture clear. Being broke or living paycheck to paycheck, not having a lot of expendable income, it limits your options. It's not that it's not that I probably was a little bit lazy and dumb though, but it's not that you're lazy and dumb. I probably was. It's that when every dollar is a do or die decision, your choices are constrained. Healthy groceries or shitty junk food, gas in the car or a new book to learn something. Even if you know what the right decision or the right choice is for your future, your present situation forces your hand. It does overtake that. And I think understanding that context is critical. Not here to pity party tonight. Just want to say I get it. I've been there. If that's you, if any of this sounds familiar, I understand why someone would want to be hungry to break out fast. I do want to talk about that hunger, that desperation a little bit, because in trading, I think it can consume you whole if you're not careful. So, Donkey, let me ask you, are you with us?
Mm-hmm.
Did trading buy the house that you're in right now?
Nope.
Did it buy your cars?
Nope.
Did it buy your fish tank?
Nope.
Did it pay for all your kids' shit?
Paid for last Christmas, but up until then, nope.
Yeah. Brian, you with us? All right. I'm going to answer the question for Brian. The answer is no, right? Like, trading didn't pay for all of Brian's shit. Like, when, a lot of you guys know Brian's backstory. When he got out of where he got out of, it was hard work. It was grit. It was a job that got him there, right? Trading was a means to the end, meaning escaping the 9 to 5. And that's a very common. You are there.
I am here, by the way. Yeah.
So, I mean, am I right or wrong there, Brian?
You're correct.
Yeah. I mean, it's a very common thing. Like, trading isn't usually a thing that someone starts. It's usually not. I'm not saying there's not one-offs or cases in which people do it, but generally speaking, trading doesn't fix your problems. It if anything, it just exacerbates them. In my case, in Brian's case, in Donkey's case, trading, I mean, it might have changed our life now, being that we don't have to work a 9 to 5 anymore, but it didn't get us out of our rut, or my rut, or Brian's rut. It was just hard work, dedication, and grind. But trading allowed us to escape that 9 to 5. So let's talk about that burning desire real quick to trade your way out of being broke. But also, like I said, you maybe be able to relate to this in regard to any type of pressure you put on yourself, not just being broke. Maybe you just want out of the paycheck to paycheck hell like yesterday, and trading looks like a lifeline. Maybe you're thinking, if I could just double my money this month, I could pay off this or quit my crappy job. And trust me, I mean, I know that feeling. I think everyone in here probably knows that feeling to some extent. The urgency to make something happen now. But here's the truth, trading under that kind of pressure is a recipe for disaster. And why do you think that is? Because when you need the money so badly, your mindset is totally hijacked. You're not trading objectively. You're not trading strategically. All you're doing is trading emotionally. You're like a drowning person grabbing at anything that looks like a float. Your brain is under financial stress. It's not your friend in the market. And there's plenty of research to back this up. And if anyone wants to read that research, let me know. I will post it in here. But there's tons of study. Dude, what's the number? Isn't like the number one cause of high blood pressure and heart attack stress? If it's not number one, it's like number 2. I mean, it manifests itself in many, many ways. I mean, it hijacks your brain, but not only does it hijack your brain, it hijacks your body. just mute Jay for a second there. Put it another way, I mean, it's like a 300-pound gorilla on your back. I mean, that's what the weight of your financial survival feels like. That's what it felt like for me. I couldn't think straight. Everything felt personal. You know, and I did not trade from broke to having money, right? Like I had money coming into trading. But I could imagine, I can think of what it would feel like if I was broke and trying to trade. Like a small loss probably doesn't feel like, oh, well, it's just part of the game. It probably feels like a threat to your rent, dinner, maybe your self-worth. And I would imagine that triggers your fight or flight mode in the brain, like stress hormones, fear, anger, not the state of mind. That's not the state of mind you want for rational decisions. I mean, let's say you're in a trade, even if it's a little bit of money, right? You're down $50, whatever, which in your mind it's not just $50. That could be groceries for the week. And look, you see that red coming down and you panic, you close the trade, and then the market immediately reverses. And what might have been a win, you know, is now a $50 loss. Why? Because you panicked, because that $50 actually means something to you. And now you're pissed. So what do? You jump in, you get revenge on the market. And I know you know where that's going, but there's other scenarios too that this can manifest in. And this isn't even just a broke to or a zero to hero thing. This is just, we all kind of can fall victim to this, but let's talk about goal setting a little bit. Not that it's not important, but you know, if you set a goal, like I have to make X amount of money by this time to cover bills or to get out of this situation I am, you're turning trading into a must-win game in a fixed time frame. And that's not how the markets work. That's not how life works. They don't give a shit about your deadline or your needs. Forcing trade to try to hit a target, I mean, what is that like? It's like stepping into quicksand. The harder you struggle and flail, you know, the deeper you sink. There's a saying in the military that the military bros and chicks have, which is slow is smooth, smooth is fast. It means that approaching any tough situation, right, calmly and, you know, with methodically, even if it's slower, leads to better results. Whereas like rushing in and panic just causes mistakes. And in trading, desperation makes you rush. You trade too big, too often on half-baked setups because you're dying for that quick win. You're dying for that giant leap. And ironically, what does that do? It slows your progress because you keep blowing up. And then if you just would have went slow and smooth, taking your time to learn, making small strategic moves, you'd probably get ahead much faster in the long run. It's like I always say, like the shortcut is always the longest road. But try telling that to someone whose phone bill is due Friday and thinks a lucky trade on Thursday could save them. You know, and it boils down to, I think all of this is common sense. And if you disagree with me, please let me know. I don't pretend to know it all. I would love to get other interpretation inputs here, but like never trade with money you can't afford to lose. Like you've heard it, I've heard it. It almost sounds cliche as hell. I mean, you know what the problem is a lot of this shit sounds cliche, but it's the way it is. It's absolutely vital. If you're trading with scared money, which is just money you can't afford to lose, it is a surefire way to fail. And attempting to justify the use of scared money or rent money or grocery budget or funds needed to pay for living expenses or funds that could be paying down your 20% interest credit card, that's a huge, huge mistake. And I've seen it, you know, people putting money on the line in the market that they shouldn't, and then they blow it. And then they ended up literally worse off than before. And I'm talking like having to borrow to survive because a few bad trades wipe them out. You know, those are the emotional side effects that nobody advertises. If you're trading with bill money, you're basically, you cut your chances of success to zero before you even start. And you're just digging the hole deeper and deeper and deeper. You're trading with scared money. You're trading with fear in your veins. And as the saying goes, scared money don't make money. So I want you to take this in. Like, if you are in financial crisis mode right now, or any kind of stressful mode right now, I think your number one job is to stabilize yourself, not to use trading as a Hail Mary pass. So we'll tell you. I'll tell you like how I think you should structure this. That doesn't mean you say fuck you to trading, by any means, but I don't want you to sprint through a minefield. I think there's a lot of psychological traps that can wreck you and wreck you fast, and take you out of the game a lot quicker than it should. Anyone ever heard of the psychology concept, scarcity mindset, which is basically when you have very little, your brain actually starts making decisions that often keep you in the hole. It's a psychological phenomenon, scarcity mindset. So, like, even if you're trying to get out of the hole and you know what the right decision is, you don't do it. And it's not because, again, people are stupid. It's a coping mechanism. So someone under financial security might take a high interest payday loan just to get through the week, ignoring the long-term cost because they just can't process next month until they survive this one. And in trading, scarcity mindset shows up as this: I have to hit a home run now or else. Right? You're full sending every single trade. It's an obsession with the immediate need at the expense of the long-term strategy. And it backfires every single time. Every single time. Maybe you get on a little bit of a lucky win streak, but it's going to backfire. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. So bottom line, if you're trading like with your back against the wall financially, emotionally, whatever your stressor is, you're almost guaranteed to trade from a place of fear and greed rather than logic and skill. And I think that leads just into inconsistency and blown accounts. The market doesn't care how badly you need money. It's going to take advantage of your desperation every single time. And we have to remove that pressure and get you to a place really that you can trade calmly and methodically, like a professional, not like a panicked person trying to outrun their life, their debt, their situation, whatever that stressor is. And to do that, you have to like fix or at least improve your personal financial situation first, like step by step. I'm not going to talk about the step by step because we already have. So here's what I'm going to say. If you are revenge trading, over leveraging and gambling, if you are in debt, if you have credit cards out there with high balances on them, like 20%, 25% credit card balances, you're not going to win more than those balances are going to hurt you. I promise you. Hedge funds don't. Hedge funds don't make more than 10%. So if you want a system or we've talked about this in the past, they're all private videos. If you're watching this on YouTube or you're in here in the free channels, DM me. I will send them your way. So we're not going to talk about that tonight because we already did. One thing I do want to talk about is there's a little bit of a modern twist on this now, which is prop firms. And Donkey's been very open and honest about it. And just want to talk about it a little bit as we're starting to kind of lean into that a little bit. But this is a modern twist on being a broke trader, is prop firm challenges. If you don't have much capital, you might be drawn to prop trading firms, right? These companies let you trade with their money after you pass an evaluation. And on paper, it sounds like the perfect solution. I have no money, but if I just pay $100 and pass a test, I get whatever it is, 5,000, 10,000, 20, 50,000, whatever it is, whatever you sign up for. Awesome. The reality is it becomes a trap for many. It's almost like an addiction cycle for undercapitalized traders. This is how they make money, off of these evaluations. Donkey said something like 1% of people pass prop firm challenges. Like the data that I found said like 5 to 15. But then it went on to say,
no. I said 1% of successful traders pass.
Then it said, anyways, it's low. It's low.
Yeah.
40. So like, but even the people who pass, Like 40% of funding accounts get terminated in the first month, and by 6 months, 85% are gone, and by 1 year, 95% of funding traders have lost their accounts. So it's in reality, it's no different than the statistics of being a professional or very close to just successful traders. The percentage of people who get to successful traders, and I think prop firms, they're not like inherently evil. Like I'm not saying they're inherently evil or inherently shady. But they do tend to prey on that desperation to trade big without personal capital and just collect your fees over and over and over and over and over again. Can they help people? Absolutely. But can they also be an addiction or a trap for a lot of people? Absolutely. Am I saying not to try prop firm? Nope. But what I'm saying is don't feed an addiction. You still got to be a good trader, right? You can't go into a prop firm and just take your bad habits with you, because you're just gonna lose. But at the end of the day, Donkey, we talked about it a little bit on the last podcast we did. Like, I'm gonna ask you the same question I asked you then, and then I'm gonna rephrase it a different way and see if your answer is the same. So, Donkey, I asked you, do you think you could go knock on you remember you said your neighbor was asking you about trading? Yeah. So do you think you could go knock on his door tonight and be like, look, give me 6 months of your time, listen to everything I say, and then do everything I say and just absolutely do not deviate, and give me this amount of time a week or a day? Could you turn him into a profitable trader in 6 months if he actually fucking listened to you? If he actually didn't deviate from this plan and did exactly as you said for 6 months, if you worked with him on a mentorship?
Yes.
So let me ask you it another way now, because I agree with you. I agree with you. I don't have a fucking doubt in my mind that I could go knock on my neighbor's door right now and turn him into a successful trader in 6 months if he listened and did exactly as I fucking said. So let me ask you another way. Could you go and take someone who is in financial dire, who is living paycheck to paycheck, their finances are all fucked up, they're in debt? Could you do the same thing with him?
With more difficulty.
So I think it would be a longer path, right? Like you'd have to.
I think at the end of the day, it has to do with clean slate learning versus breaking old habits learning. But go ahead and continue. I don't want to derail you.
You'd have to tackle that first, right? Like if you're bad with money in real life in the non-trading world, what makes you think you're gonna be good with money in trading? It's like you have to. It's almost like you'd have to put them through a financial boot camp and get them a plan to tackle their finances before they can even get to trading. You're not going to outrun a 20% credit card debt. You're just not. You're just not going to do that. And I think.
Let me ask you a question. Just to follow up on that. Do you have any credit card debt?
No.
Neither do I.
I haven't had credit card debt in, I don't know, 9 years.
My credit cards are on auto pay in full every month.
Yeah. Nope. I use my Amex card and just pay it off every month. It's a trap, man. Traders typically.
1,000% trap.
Yeah. I mean, dude, the best traders in the world barely make 20%. Like you're not going to outrun a credit card. Like that's just, you got to pay that shit off first. You got to be responsible. And I think it makes it harder, man. It really does make it harder.
Basic responsibilities in life will make you a better trader. Like if you can't get out of bed in the morning with an alarm clock, you're like, tackle that first, man. Like if you can't, get to work on time, tackle that first. You don't make your bed in the morning, tackle that first. You forget to brush your teeth 3 times a week, tackle that first.
Yeah.
Because if you can't do that, what's going to make you set a stop loss?
But also at the same time, like the point I'm trying to make is like we offer mentorship, right, Donkey? But people can't just sign up for it. What do they need to do?
They need to commit. They need to be present.
They need to go through an interview, right?
Yeah. Right.
We need to make sure that that they have their shit together. If you don't have your shit together, I probably am going to decline it, right? Or at least a little bit together. If someone comes into me and they got $50,000 in credit card debt and they're over leveraged to their ass,
Yeah, trading isn't the solution.
No.
It's a progression of your own success.
Yeah,
I don't know any successful traders who started trading while they were failures at everything else.
No. Nope.
And that sounds harsh to say, and it takes a little introspective, but you got to have your shit together as a person to be a successful trader.
100%.
And I think people who show up to New York on a daily basis, most of those folks have their shit together.
Yep.
Right?
100%. So what does the path out? So let's kind of take this a little bit more towards trading, right? Like, again, I'm not going to get into, debt stacking and snowballs and avalanches and building an emergency fund and stuff like that. But that's what you need to do. If you haven't watched my video on that and you want it, let me know. But I really think you need to treat your capital. Has anyone heard about like the soldier's mindset? Like let's skip ahead. Let's say you've done all that. Let's say you've cut your expenses, you started whittling down your debt, you've built up a little bit of savings, and maybe hustled to earn a little bit extra, right? You've freed up cash, you've improved your financial stability a little bit. Now comes the part that you've been waiting for. You've built up your trading capital and you're actually trading. But I think this step, it really does need to be approached with extreme caution and patience, right? Like trading's, I think everyone here can attest to this. It's not a get rich quick scheme. It's a slow grind to wealth. If you treat it like a lottery, you're going to lose like 99% of lottery players, or 99.9%, or whatever it is. If you treat it like deploying soldiers, like in a campaign, you have a fighting chance. And I think I said it last night. And it was, I thought me and Rob were having a pretty good conversation last night. What did I say? Like my mindset, I don't even know what I said, so I can't even find it. So I said something like, my mindset shifted. That there was a point where it was no longer about, like at the start, it's about growth. I found it. I said at the start, it's always about growth, right? But it shifts to preservation, and that takes like a long-term mindset. And then I went on to say, like, I wish I had that from day one, and I would probably be 2 years further ahead right now in my trading journey than I am. If I just went into it, if I, like at the beginning, wasn't just freaking chasing home runs on every play, I'd have more money today, probably significantly more money today, because it compounds, right? And it compounds crazily fast once you start to get it. So it's not a get rich quick scheme. Your money is like little soldiers, right? Like send them out to work, and their job is to just bring back prisoners, right? Which is more money for you. You got to think of your money or your stash as you're the general. You don't just throw all your troops into a meat grinder battle hoping for a miracle. You got to strategize, serve your forces, and aim to win the war, not just like putting all your troops into every single battle and just have them rushing, right? Like it's not about the individual battle. It's about the war, as cliche as that sounds. So, what does that kind of mean in practice? Look, start small. Always start small. And if you're still broke or just out of broke, like don't even trade live with significant money yet. Like trade on paper. If you can do, what's the smallest trade? Does anyone know what the smallest trade you can do on like Bitfire or MEXC is?
$115 in leverage.
But like how much margin is that? Like, does it matter?
$1,200.
How much?
No, it's 100.
Well, you can trade with 1x, at least on MEXC, you can do 1x, right? With whatever the minimum bet is on.
But it's not like $1, right? It's like there's a number.
I think it's like $10.
$10. Okay.
Right.
So it doesn't have to be significant to start collecting data. Is my point, right? Maybe you just do $20 a paycheck, something like that. Do it with a micro account, something so small that losing it is trivial. it's just to get the feel or real execution and emotions, right? I mean, the goal of phase one, which is usually like 0 to 6 months, is to do skill development. It's not income, right? It's to learn TA and all that kind of shit. You know, phase two is once you've shown consistency on paper or micro stakes and your financial house is in order, you know, maybe consider upping that to like 500, 1,000 or 2,000, you know, whatever you can truly afford to risk at that point. You know, you're now real kind of, you get more skin in the game, you're trading live. You know, phase three, realistically, the scale up is probably for most people like year 2 and beyond. Like if you've been, you know, consistently profitable, like your P&L curve is like kind of flattish / up. I think that's usually for most people where it kind of starts, is that year 2 and beyond. But it's not gambling. It's no 100x leverage. It's no YOLO trades. You know, I know there's some ways to plan. You know, when I say like no 50x leverage, I'm talking about the people who slide their slider up to 100%. Don't plan the trade. You know, I'm not here to debate leverage. You know, is there a way to do it and make it and plan it to where it's a good risk to reward? Sure. That's not most people. It's also worth noting that most, myself included, professional traders start with their own small capital and scale up over years. Like I didn't start day one with $1 million account, and I definitely wasn't trying to pay rent with trades in a month. I kept, and so did Donkey. We kept other sources of income for a long time. We didn't just quit our jobs. We needed to see that trading can replace our income, that we can, like, we need to prove to ourselves that we can still live the life that we're living on income. Like Donkey, he said it, he needed to make his yearly salary, right? And once he proved that to himself, you know, he quit. If you treat your capital with respect, meaning that like every dollar is a soldier, yeah, but also imagine each dollar is like, they're like little employees working for you. You want them to work efficiently and come back with more. You wouldn't randomly fire employees or throw them into a dangerous task without training, right? Like any business owners out there, you know, don't fling your dollars into random trades without a vetted strategy. Protect them with risk management, like whatever, position sizing, staying out of shitty trades. You know, Paul Tudor Jones said, don't focus on making money, focus on protecting what you have. And that's my mindset now. Like I wish that was my mindset from day one. That's capital preservation. If you have $1,000, your number one job is not to lose it. It's not to make $2,000. It's not to make $10,000. That's not. Your number one job is to not let that 1,000 tick to 999. That's your number one job, and that's it. If you can do that, then that 1,000 can become 2,000. That 2,000 can become 10,000. That 10,000 can become 100,000. Because if you preserve it and compound it and incrementally grow it, one day it grows, and it can happen so fast. Like the compounding happens so fast. I promise you it does. If you swing for the fences like I did early on and lose half, which I lost a lot more than half, you know, now you need 100% gain just to recover. And you're not trading from a place of sound mind. You're trading from your back is against the wall now. It's literally like war. If you lose half of your army or your money in a shitty, foolish charge, you're in trouble. Dude, you guys know the story of Napoleon? Anyone, any history buffs in here? Napoleon ran through fucking Europe, right? Like he crushed it. His European.
I watched the movie.
I haven't even seen the movie. Is it good?
It's pretty good.
I should watch that. Maybe I'll watch that tonight. But he fucking crushed it in Europe, dude. Like he just battle after battle after battle after battle. He just absolutely crushed it. And then his head, kind of like we get when we're just winning and winning and winning and winning, and then our risk management goes down. He decided to just go all in on Russia in winter for the most part. And a lot of his his generals and his lieutenants and shit were like, yo, bro, like, I don't think this is a good idea to run up into Russia after all these battles. The troops need some rest. And his head was just too fucking big, man. His ego was so big after just crushing and running through Europe. And then what happens? He gets slaughtered. He gets absolutely fucking slaughtered in Russia. And that started Napoleon's downfall. It's the same way. It's the same thing in trading. And you can find analogies for this all over in life. So what I wish I would have committed to early on is I will build my trading account slowly, methodically, and not you know, the point, like, I think of a trap that you get into that I got into early on is thinking that I would just be taking money out of my account all the time as opposed to just topping it off all the time. Like, don't be in that mindset early on. Like, the money you put into your trading account should be, this is tuition to the market. I'm going to lose it all. Should be, I don't know if I'm going to lose it all should be the mindset you're in, but you should be okay with losing it all. So when and when not to trade during the learning and the broke phase, and more so the broke phase in this case. I'm not saying poor. I've been broke, man. I've lived paycheck to paycheck. You might be a lot of you guys have heard me talk about the finance stuff, and you're probably thinking, okay, I get it. I get the finance stuff, but I love trading. I want to be trading. So when do I do it? When do I scale up? And I'm not trying to extinguish your passion. I'm not. Like me and Donkey said, anytime that we don't, first of all, I don't know everything, right? But this is like a decade, 2 decades of just experience and being a trader and having a successful business before trading and going from fucking public housing to where I am now. It's just condensed advice into like an hour-long session. You know, I don't, and correct me if I'm wrong, Dunk or Brian or anyone else in here, but I don't think you should be trading with significant real money if you don't have any savings or an emergency fund. Do you agree, Donkey?
Yeah, I think that's kind of.
I don't think that you should be trading if you have high interest debt breathing down your neck. And, you know, and I'm saying, you know, is a $20 account okay? Yeah, let's not argue over semantics. You know what I mean? If you're losing the money in your trading account, that would put you into a life crisis or make you like unable to pay rent or whatever, credit card, phone bill, electricity, whatever it is, or put groceries on the table, you shouldn't be trading. Like I think that's the hard rule. If any of those are true, then any money you put into trading is basically, it's scared money, man. That's what it is. It's scared money. And you're already fucked, as we said. That's a surefire recipe for failure. You know, using that indispensable income like rent or grocery money, it leads to emotional. Does anyone disagree? Like, it leads to emotional side effects that just guarantee you severed your chances of success before you even begin. Your mind will not be at neutral, which is where your mind needs to be when you sit down at the computer to trade every single day. You're going to be second guessing and panicking. It's like, do you want if you have to go in for surgery, do you want a surgeon that is under financial stress to operate on you? I fucking don't. You know, I don't want my surgeon to be thinking about his $4 million house that is now underwater because, you know, he's got a gambling addiction or some stupid shit like that, or he's addicted to oxy pills or whatever it is. You know, your mind's got to be neutral. So if you look at your finances and realize, yeah, I'm trading money I probably shouldn't, it's okay to stop. It's okay to pause trading real money. It's okay. There's no shame. You know, just switch to simulators or to the smallest stakes possible until you sort that out. Now, when should you trade? So I think ideally you have risked some capital that truly isn't needed for bills and emergencies. You know, you have at least a minimal safety net, you know, like even like $1,000 saved or something, so that if you do have a unexpected expense, it's not going to kill you. It kind of gives you a little bit of a mental buffer as well. And I think you're mentally prepared that money in your trading account could go to zero and you'd be fine. Would you be upset? Sure. But would you be okay? Yes. You know, I think the best time to trade with real money is when you can honestly say, I don't need this money right now to live. Because that frees you to trade objectively. You won't be making decisions out of fear, doubt, losing rent, not being able to pay your bills. I really, I mean, I don't know. I think you got to be, it's like you have to fully accept the risk that it can be lost before you can maintain a neutral mindset. Does that make sense? Like before you even can click buy or sell, you have to fully assume the risk already. You know, here's a little bit of a twist. You can trade even when you're broke, you know, by trading on paper, like, or just trading with your mind or whatever. There's other things you can do, especially in the early stages. You know, practice, skill building. Like, a lot of this stuff doesn't require risking actual money. Like during your broke phase, you should be training like soldiers train, man. Like, they have classes and shit, like studying, devour trading education. There's tons of free resources. Baby Pip school is awesome. I mean, there's a ton. Learn about technical analysis, order flow, fundamental, risk management, or just watch the freaking charts. Screen time's important. That's where you can start to build your trading plan. Back test.
Baby Pip school?
Baby Pips, yeah, you know what that is?
I don't.
Dude, it's like one of the best free schools for trading.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I got my barber doing, dude. Who wants to learn the trade?
Really?
Yeah, Baby Pips.
Baby Pips?
Yeah. It's
Well, I think we should do this together.
huh?
I think we should do it together. Babypips.com. Learn how to trade markets. Interesting. I've never seen this before.
It's mostly for like FX basics, but like anytime anyone's like, I want to learn how to trade, I just say go to Baby Pips, dude. Start with their basic.
I've never seen that.
Start with their basic course. My barber likes it. He's learned a lot. He's starting to like he started from like literally zero knowledge, and now he's asking me
That's
questions.
the best way to start.
Yeah, it is. But anyways,
Delete any bad habits.
yeah, for sure. You know, since we started uploading our podcast on YouTube, on Spotify, I've been just searching other, you know, there's a shitload of trading podcasts out there, from some like actual people, not people who are trying to sell you some bullshit, and you know, it's not some 20-year-old with a rented Lambo in a Airbnb Miami penthouse. Do you know what I mean? They're like actual traders interviewing other traders and stuff like that. So there's a lot of stuff you could be doing, is my point. But this is where you could build your trading plan, do self-awareness drills, start training your mind. Does anyone here meditate?
I used to. I don't anymore.
I try.
I need to get
Use
into
it,
that. I'm trying to.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I do, and yoga.
I did yoga for a little while when I was doing jujitsu. It was helpful.
It is just even just stretching, because we're
Yeah.
on computers so much. Like just stretching, even it helps.
So if you're going to trade while broke, do it in a way that doesn't jeopardize you, I guess is my point at the end of the day. There's no magic answer here. Like I think nobody wants to hear the truth. Right, Donkey? Nobody wants to hear that's going to take 2 years plus, or however long it's going to take to be a trader. No one wants to hear that you're not going to get rich overnight. No one wants to hear that we haven't had a real altcoin season and we might not get one. No one wants to hear,
Again.
huh?
Ever again.
No one wants to hear these things. No, everyone wants to just have smoke blown up their ass and say, you're going to be okay. Just go all in. That's just not the way life works. There's a path for all this shit. There's a path to get out of debt. There's a path to fix your life. There's a path to fucking weather a divorce. There's a path to weather anything, right? Addiction. There's a path to weather anything. It's the shortcuts is where you fuck up, or where you're looking to reinvent something that's already out there and there's already proven paths to do it. I think, look, all this can really just be boiled down to when you sit down at the computer every single day, you got to start from a place of neutral. For me, that could mean, like, if I have a shitty night's sleep, I might not trade that day. I might just watch. That's a neutral standpoint. If I get a shitty night's sleep, I'm not sitting down at the computer from a neutral standpoint. If if something's going on in my life, my mom's sick or something, and I'm sitting at the computer and that's fucking me up mentally, I am not sitting down at the computer from a neutral standpoint. And that could be financial stress, that could be health stress, that could be a lot of things. And we know that stress literally kills you. So I don't know that I have a whole lot more here to talk about. Does anyone want to add on to this, to challenge me, to push back, to go further on a topic, to anything? Am I making sense? It's like happy life, happy wife. It's like happy life, happy trader. It's the same thing.
So we need to we need to make first a happy life.
I think so, man. I think you got to have your ducks in a row. Otherwise, you're not at a neutral spot. If you're just constantly under stress and you're putting pressure on yourself, am I saying you can't still learn and you can't still, maybe do small little $10, trades in a $100 account or something, or a paper trade, and still have that goal of being a trader? I'm not saying you can't do that. I'm just saying, don't skip the process. Don't skip the steps. Does that make sense?
Yeah, of
So,
course.
I have a question too. Like, I've always wondered this too. Like, most of trading principles and stuff involve a lot of self-reflection and like, you need to be good at yourself to be good at trading. But I've often noticed like, the steps to get better at trading can also help you be better at, life. So how much of that have you experienced? So like, maybe you had your shit partially together and then you became a great trader. Did you notice once you became a great trader, you also became a better person?
Yeah. I think so. I mean, day trading just holds up a mirror, right? Like,
I mean, he's an asshole, bro. I don't know what to tell you.
yeah, I mean, that is true.
I know that.
But trading didn't get me out of the fucking projects, bro. Like, it didn't get me out of fucking public housing, is what I'm trying to say. Like, it was just hard work. It was building a business. It was not trading. Dude, I could not imagine trying to trade back then. I would have fucking dug myself into a hole even deeper. So I think you gotta, I don't think you can start from there. Can you start like 25% away from there? Like, could I have maybe and I did. I mean, obviously I fixed some shit, got out of my head a little bit. The financial stress went away. And then I started to dabble into trading. But I guess to answer your question, does trading make you like a more patient person, a more disciplined person? Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I've observed.
Is trading
too.
gonna fix?
I've noticed that like my general
let-
personality's changed.
Yeah,
for the
let
better.
me be clear. It's not gonna fix all your bad habits. It's just gonna exacerbate them. That's what the markets do. That's what the markets do. But you can do them side by side, right? Like, you can still learn to trade. The point here is to not, like, your job is to just survive long enough to learn all the shit in the market. And if you're coming into this from a negative standpoint, meaning you're not at neutral, the chances of you succeeding are just that much less, because you're gonna blow up, you're gonna burn out, and you're gonna say fuck trading. Go ahead, John. Sorry.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, and don't use trading as a distraction. You know what I mean? It's easy to get, you know what I mean? If your life's kind of fucked up, shit's going on, right? Trading is, you can go like, oh, well, I'll trade, I'll learn trading, and I mean, you get that dopamine hit, the easy way, I guess, even if you're losing, you can, rather than doing the shit you should be doing that straightens your life up, right?
Yep.
It's easy to use as a distraction, at least in my experience. It's easy to use as a distraction.
Oh, for sure. I could see that. And then when you're distracting yourself from something like that, I mean, okay, let's look at it this way. Why do a lot of drug addicts use drugs? Why do a lot of alcoholics drink alcohol? What is it?
Right? Just
Uh,
dopamine hits and distractions, right?
Exactly.
Same thing with gambling, right?
escaping from reality.
Because drugs
With a
are
fantasy attached to it that it's somehow, shit's just going to get better magically.
Yeah, 100%. I hope it doesn't sound like I'm trying to discourage people. That's not the point here. But I've never like pulled punches. Like, I really.
Well, here's how I want to sum this up.
Yeah.
I think there are so many people on the precipice of being 5 or 6 great trades away from being perfect at this, but something outside of trading is affecting them. And these are the introspective things you got to take a look at. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, dude, you brought the stress of last night to the charts in the morning. You had something hanging over your head you couldn't shake. You didn't get enough sleep, right? It's the outside factors. I really want to fucking short this. The outside factors are really just kicking the overdrive of your mental fortitude of success. And I know when they're affecting me, and I journal them, right? I don't mean to beat a dead horse with the journal stuff, but like, I don't trade good if, I had an argument with my wife the night before, right? And we're still pissy about it. Or I don't trade good if my kids were screaming all fucking night and the twins were screaming and I don't feel amazing, right? I like before, if I was not, like with my old job, if I was on the precipice of making or not making like bonus structure, I was like not trading good, that kind of stuff, right? So if there's something in your life that takes the focus away from trading for a day or two or an hour or two, go get it done, right? Go clean it up. Don't put it aside to sit there and worry about it while you're sitting at an instrument at the computer where you're leveraging out $100,000. It's the kind of thing that'll mess with you.
So let me ask you this, Dunk. So this is gonna have a 2-part question, and I want like an elevator speech answer. If there's someone watching this on a replay who's in a tough financial situation right now, maybe they're just over broke. You know what I mean? They got a job and they can't seem to get it together. What would your advice be? Like, how does someone who is like stuck in a rut claw their way out?
It's a tough answer, man, because for me it took rock bottom to realize I didn't want rock bottom. But the elevator speech is I'm good at motivation. I'm good at talking with people. Like, quite honestly, guys, if anybody wants to chat about stuff, and it's not trading related, just hit me up. On the other end of this, if you're stuck in a routine that feels mundane, you need to shake it up. You always need to shake it up. And shaking up can be difficult, but doing things that make you uncomfortable get you out of those ruts, right? And even like the first thing I noticed about being at home and being a full-time trader is I'm not getting out of the house enough. And I scheduled outside time, man. I need that vitamin D, right? It's a whole different animal when you go from working a job that puts 90,000 miles on your car a year to sitting in front of a computer from 8:30 to 2 o'clock every day, staring at things go up and down in little boxes, right? It's created some psychological issues that I didn't foresee. And I solved those, by talking them out with somebody I trust, aka my wife, what we could do and what we can settle into the routine. And B is you have to make the change. You have to take action. So, at the end of the day, you have to put it in paper, dude. Write down a plan. And this can be just trading goals, but if you're stuck, you need to write down a goal of where you want to be in the first step you're going to do to take it. my house used to be, and it's still full of sticky notes everywhere, but I used to have goals written all over my house, everywhere, dude. On the mirrors, on the walls, on the picture frames, on my monitors, on my case, to the point where people are asking me, "What the hell's up with all these sticky notes?" Just constant reminders to myself that I want to be a better version of myself. And you gotta hammer that stuff out the hard way. There's nobody look, if you're relying on somebody else to make you better, it's never going to happen. It's not your spouse's responsibility to make you happy. It's not your parents' responsibility to make you happy. It's not your kids' responsibility to make you happy. It's your responsibility. And you've got to create those stepping stones. And it's always, as far as even with trading, it's one step at a time. We focused a lot about, we've gotten some DMs and things like that things are getting tight and they're trying to do this, or they're wasting money, or they feel like they're spinning wheels. You got to fall in love with any system that you're in, right? If you don't love the system, you won't stick with it at the end of the day. You just won't. You won't stick with it. You'll give it up. And the other big thing too is it takes 30 days to 60 days to make a habit, to form a habit. Getting up in the morning at 8 o'clock, being ready at the computer at 8:30 takes 60 days to become a habit. It takes 4 days to break that habit. That makes sense?
Mm-hmm.
If you give it up for 4 days in a row, it becomes a 60-day grind to make it stick again. That's with anything in life. So if you want the success, you want to stop spinning your wheels in place with anything you're doing, you need to find a routine that works. I can't stress that enough. Right? If you're going to work and you're trying to trade and work at the same time, you're probably not doing great at either. I'm sure some people would just say out loud that they've found themselves in that cycle. So focus on what needs to be focused on, and then shift gears and then focus on the next thing. And that can all be done in the same day, right? I found myself looking at random content. I mean, just yesterday I missed that, or 2 days ago I missed that Pico short at the top. I was looking at some fucking bullshit content stuff that I was trying to post instead of just looking at the charts. Guess what? It all closes at 9 o'clock. I'm not looking at it anymore. Fixed it. Nipped it right in the butt. Don't want to do that anymore. Don't want to miss the move because my eyes, while every chart's up in front of me on 4 different monitors here, my eyes were on one monitor posting something. That's my spiel.
Yeah.
So, from an old guy, can I just say,
Sure.
Go ahead and tell me I'm wrong, but I think trading should always be your plan B. I think your plan A should be, this was my life lesson is save. I don't care how much it is, $10 a month, dollar cost average, and just make yourself do the research, choose a fund or some investment you believe in, even if it's Bitcoin, whatever. But if you can't get yourself to save something every month, you don't have a healthy enough relationship with money to trade, in my opinion.
I agree.
And trading shouldn't be, you're burn the boat. It's how I'm going to make it, right? I mean, many people live, 30 years out of JOB. If you save money, can retire you, depending on the job or jobs. But yeah, if you're not saving some, and reward yourself with, if I save X amount, I got to take 10% out and I can trade with it, whatever. But I think if you're not saving money, you shouldn't be trading, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. But
I've really thrown this out there that, look, if anyone's got like personal strife that they're dealing with, look, I'll chat with you, man. I've dealt with more personal strife than the average person. A lot more. At one point I was on my deathbed in my early 20s and didn't think I was going to make it. That's a different kind of personal strife than, some other people deal with. Ben's dealt with his personal strife completely different than mine. so you can get some different perspectives on, finding success where you're not currently finding success. He just told you he was on Section 8 or HUD or whatever he said. Was not having the best of times, and that's a different personal strife.
In my 30s, like I didn't crawl out of this shit till my mid 30s.
Yep. And I mean, a lot would consider that a late bloomer, but he did it. And Brian conquered personal strife in a completely different way than either one of us. Right? So, no matter what you are dealing with, if that's bugging you and you think that's holding you back, I'll chat about it with you. I don't mean to turn this into like a group therapy thing, but let's figure out what's holding you back from success in general, and then we'll plug it in the trading after that.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good perspective too. I mean, Brian's been very open and honest about where he was, right? Brian was literally in San Quentin, one of the toughest prisons in the United States. Now he's a very successful person in and outside of trading. He makes, I don't know how he makes so much fucking money fixing elevators, but he does. It's insane. Donkey had health issues. I had like a fucking midlife crisis in my early 30s that lasted to like my mid 30s. I had it all, gave it all up, started from zero and worked my way out. And I think all three of us did that. I'm sure there's people in here too who have similar stories, right? But I only know our three stories, and a little bit of Eddie's. But we've been there. Like if you're in a shitty spot, like let us be the proof that like you can conquer hell shit, you can conquer having fucking absolutely nothing, you can conquer fucking being in San Quentin. Like it's possible. It is possible. And it's never too late. It just takes a little bit of grit, man, a little bit of determination. And I agree with what John said. I do. I think trading should be your plan B, not your plan. It doesn't mean it can't be your goal. It doesn't mean it can't be a part of your 2-year or your 5-year plan. That's not what I'm saying. That doesn't mean that can't be what you're striving for. But if you're sacrificing your job, which is paying your bills and keeping you afloat for screen time, it's like Donkey said.
I did that. I'm straight up. I mean, there was times where I text Ben, like, look, dude, I got to pull back on what I'm doing because I'm not making any money, the right amount of money at my day job. Multiple times, right? And then I can get myself all back under control and we can, go back at it and I ramp myself back up. But, burnout's real if you're spinning your wheels on every fucking angle.
What else? Anyone else got any input, questions, comments, concerns? I think Brian's trying to talk, but I can't hear him. You need me to stay after class, Brian, and help you with your mic? Blink twice.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Good there for a second.
She can hear you.
We can hear you, Beth.
Yeah. I think that might have been the back test of the range, but I see liquidity's